Welcome if you new, forgiving your lateness. You streaming in your car, then let it ride. If you on the YouTube, like the video, subscribe. You are now tuned in to the TSP. You are now tuned in to the You are now tuned in. You are now tuned in to the TSP.
Yes, sir. TSP episode 192. I'm your host, Bobby Hall, and with me, as always, you know who it is. That's Dylan Savage. Dilo, how are you feeling? How are we sounding this week? You've been kind of going through it the last few weeks, health-wise. How we doing?
We're doing a complete 180, Bobby.
Okay,
We're doing
there we
great.
go.
Caught up on sleep on a Saturday, recording on this beautiful Monday. Yeah, doing much better than the past 2 weeks combined. How about yourself, Bobby?
Well, I'm gonna get into what was a week from hell. But first, before we do that, we got to shout out our boy Joe the Greek. Today we're recording on Sunday. It's his birthday, so happy birthday to Joe the Greek, our boy. Who knows what he's doing today? Probably something to do with some kind of meat, maybe smoking
cheese.
something. Who knows? Or getting taken out to dinner. I could see him doing something along those lines, but hopefully it's a good day, good time, and yeah, just gotta show love to our guy there. So happy B-Day to JTG. There it is. I know he'll love that. But Dilo, 2024 is carried over into 2025 for your boy. So right out the gate, we've discussed this, off air, but chicken chunks on New Year's is not the move. So
Noted.
we'll see. You did the 12 grapes under the table thing. So far, so good for you, I believe.
Unscathed.
So we'll see how that goes the rest of the year. But
Early.
as you know, back in October, I live on a well, so my well pump went bad. So I had to get all that stuff replaced, $2,000. The couple days after Christmas, stove goes out. Got to buy a new stove, $800. And then this week, stove gets delivered. And then come to find out that I apparently just hired maybe the worst inspector of all time. I kind of have a feeling that he was probably working in cahoots with the realtor, because we come to find out that the gas line setup behind the oven was not to code. And then the delivery guys just hooked up a flex line to another flex line to the stove, which is like extremely against code. And there was a leak that was caused from there, because as soon as I booted up, and I don't know shit about fuck, which I need to start probably learning more about these things,
Right.
especially since I have a whole family in here. Get all that shit hooked up. I light the stove. All the burners are working great. I'm like, cool. I was like, I might as well light up the oven, make sure everything's on that up and up. Preheat the oven for like 350. I mean, boom. As soon as we, and that's probably not the right phrasing, no boom, but as soon as we light the oven, all of us, including the kids, smell gas. So I shut that shit off, call our gas company, and we got the fuck out. Guy shows up about 30, 40 minutes later, goes in, and I mean, he was in there maybe like 5 minutes, pops back out, comes, gets me. He's like, yeah, you definitely got some leaks. And he's like, but I found one not only behind your oven, but down in a whole separate part of your house. I'm like, holy shit. I'm thinking, am I going to have to replace the whole gas lines, everything? He takes me down to my basement here, which you can kind of see. We got some work done there. I'm going to have to get that stuff over there patched up. But yeah, so he shows me that little duct area, and he's like, yeah, because I guess you spray with soapy water. If that shit's bubbling, that's where you got leaks. And he's exactly that. I mean, that shit was fucking bubbling up like a motherfucker. So he's like, this is where the trouble areas are. I got to shut your shit down. So I call my buddy James, and I got to shout him out gigantically. James Leatherman. He's one of my best friends on planet Earth for 30 years plus. I kind of took a shot in the dark because he's not like a plumber, or anything like that. But he's come here. He's helped me with the previous problems I've had down here in the basement, which, because throughout the show, a lot of you guys that have watched and listened know some of the fucking headaches I've dealt with this house. I mean, this motherfucker might be goddamn brand new by the time I'm done with it, with all the replacements and stuff. But I took a shot in the dark. I'm like, do you know anything about gas lines? And explained what was going on. And he's like, dude, I can get you fixed up. fortunately, because he does some work in like excavating and stuff. So this week it was just colder and shit, and so they work's a little scarce this time of year for a lot of those guys. So he was fortunately off. I called off that this past Wednesday. We got all the shit we needed. He got all the repairs and stuff done. And then when the gas guy was here on Tuesday, he's like, call an hour before you think you're about to be done. We'll come out, check the repairs out, run some tests, make sure everything's up and up, and then we get you turned back on. This is, of course, a week where it's 20 degrees is like the high. You know what I mean? So it's
Always.
it's not warm out. And but yeah, Wednesday about 11:00, 11:30, I call, and then as always anymore, you got to get through 5-6 levels of automated bullshit before you talk to a human being. I get my name on the books. She said they will be there on Wednesday. 7 hours go by, no one's here. We're huddled up, in front of a couple space heaters and shit because her mom brought one over, and it actually did a pretty damn good job. So she kind of saved our ass with that. And I call back, and they're like, "Oh, well, actually, we got you on for Friday." And I'm like, "That ain't gonna work. I got 2
Right.
kids. I got 2 pets. We need to figure this the fuck out." I was told that somebody's coming today. James heard it as well because he was down here with me. So she puts me on hold for like a minute or two. Says she talked to like her, upper management or whoever the hell it was. They couldn't come out Wednesday night, but she was getting us on for sure on Thursday. But if you know anything about utilities and stuff, it's not, we'll be here at 9 a.m. or whatever time. That can be there anytime between 8 and 8. So it's like, and usually it's the fucking closer to the latter time. They're never in the earlier part of that. You know what I mean? So Thursday goes by. I mean, it's about noon, and I haven't heard shit yet. So I'm getting pissed off because I had to go back to work. I can't afford to miss work, especially with with what we got coming here, which I'll tell you in a minute. But call them again. They reassured me that somebody's coming. I think about another 4 or 5 hours go by. She finally texts me. He's like, "Yeah, the gas guy's here. He came in, checked everything out. We're good to go. Gas is back on. Heat, hot water, oven's good." Because James came back, and because we didn't even hook up the stove yet. I wanted everything to get turned back on, make sure we're good down here. Then he hooked it back up, started the oven, stove, no gas smell, so we're good to go. And then I got my other buddy Nick Foley, who's been on the show, previous guest. Shout out to him. He's gonna come patch up the ceiling here, and that'll be another nightmare that is over with. And as much as that shit sucked, we got through it thanks to some great friends of mine and good support system. With her mom stopping by Tuesday night with that space heater because basically our hallway and then the 2 bedrooms were good. I would say we were probably holding up in like the lower to mid 60s in there. So, that's decently enough. So that's a little chill, but you can sleep in there. We had the 2 kids in Analea's room, so huddled up, under a couple extra blankets, and then like I already sleep fucking warm anyway, so I didn't really notice a huge difference. So glad that is over. I now jump to the next project Tuesday. As you guys have known, I'm replacing my air conditioning and furnace. So that's a nice 5-figure replacement that's coming, but it's something that needs done. That AC I have out here is 20 years old, so getting that out of here. And the furnace is only 10. So, but I've since the beginning, I just under the impression that it's just smarter to just do it all at once instead of one now and then the other later. Although when this shit was going on, I thought, well, fuck, maybe I'll just do the AC this year, just so I got an extra, some extra money laying around for who the fuck knows what next. But we got all this stuff fixed pretty cheap, so I'm getting it all done now, and we'll have brand new shit. Brand new stove, brand new furnace, brand new AC, brand new fucking pipes. I mean, god damn, brand new
Silver
sheet,
lining,
some
copper lining.
newer plumbing down here in the basement because we had that
Yeah.
shit 3 years ago. So yeah, I mean, we're just basically rebuilding the whole fucking house. But the one thing that what kind of kept my head on straight was like it could have been 1,000 times worse. Because I almost didn't call that day because we saw some shit on Google about sometimes, you know, when you got a new oven or stove, like it'll burn off the manufacturer's whatever the fuck inside, and you'll smell some weird shit. So part of me almost is like, well, maybe that's what the fuck's going on. I'm glad I didn't, because you know, some really bad shit would happen. And as everyone knows going on right now, the shit out in LA it's like unfathomable. Yeah, that is crazy, Dylan. I know that
Yeah.
you've seen some videos. I've seen videos, pictures. Like, it's insane. And the thing that kind of sucks is there's people that are like commenting on videos and stuff like on TikToks or YouTube videos, Twitter. You know, well, a lot of these people are millionaires. They can rebuild and all this stuff. And to a point, they're right. You know, these people have a lot better chance to be able to rebuild than some of the other folks, because not everyone in LA's, you know, got it like that. And I understand, but there's a lot more to a house than just like the monetary stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I lived
Mhm.
in East Toledo, which is not a great neighborhood, for 3 or 4 years, not in the greatest of houses, but that's where this family was built at. That's where I became, you know, we had Jackson, and then that's, you know, I was started being around Anna when she was 2 years old over at that house. Um,
Memories.
and yeah, the memories in there, and um just the beginning stages of us being a family, and just, you know, and yeah, we got our shit broken in, you know, our cars and shit broken into. Like, I did not you know, it was not enjoyable living there, but if I knew that that house had burned down or something like that, I'd be sad about it, man, just because of like what was built there and like the memories and stuff like that. So like, even if somebody that has 7-figure bank account, it's still gonna fucking suck for them, because yeah, if they got kids and stuff like that, that's where they saw first steps, you know, first steps of, you know, of their baby, or, you know, first words are spoke there, birthday parties, you name it, man. So obviously I feel worse for the people that aren't able to just you know, basically snap their fingers and then pick another place to live and, you know, rebuild or whatnot. That sucks, and I hope that those people get the most help. But, you know, these people that are a little wealthier or are wealthy, you know, they're still going through it too, man. That's a lot of shit, and it's from as far as I know, man, that shit's still going on, man. That is like just, it's crazy, because it's like windy and stuff. So like you see like the helicopters and airplane trying to drop the fire, you know, retardant stuff, but it's just basically kind of just, you know, blowing out of the way, and not being
Yeah.
able to land where it needs
I'm sure
to.
we'll get into it
So
later for sure.
that's
That's great. It is crazy.
gotta be wild, man. So like, all that was going on while, you know, I was dealing with stuff here. So I was just kind of, that was kind of keeping my head on straight a little bit. It's just like, as much as of a headache this was, mainly due to the utility company that you know, dragged their ass. Because I've told you and a few people, if I'm somebody that didn't pay my bill or I'm late on my bill, they would have been in my house in fucking 30 minutes Wednesday. You know what I mean?
Right.
But somebody that needs to get their gas, you know, turned on to heat their home, to warm their family up, be able to cook meals and all this shit, um, they just drag their feet. That sucked. But yeah, another headache gone. Everything's been fixed. I am truly a lucky guy to have some of the friends that I do. Um, because yeah, I know I know how to drive a truck, Dylan, and I know how to cook food, and that's really about where it all ends for me, skill wise. I can't do shit mechanically, and I wish that I had learned over time, and I guess I still could, but it's just, it's awesome to kind of be able to get on the phone and call one of these guys and be, hey, I got this going on, and they'll come and take, you know, take care of us, man. It's James really came up clutch, dude, big time. And
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
I got a lot of
He's
love
a
for
good
him for
guy.
that. Yeah,
Great guy.
yeah,
Um, but I'm with you there as far as like a mechanically not there, or
yeah,
however you want to describe it as. But yeah, it's just that's why they got YouTube, man. I graduated from YouTube University on many different majors or minors, and rebuilt like a couple things. I think got to some tutorials there, but it's good to know that you know, once you do it and then you know how to do it for the future. God forbid there is a something, anything close to remotely close to that type of situation for you, but I'm sure like you were helping him out, James. That is so. Same thing with like the plumbing thing with the bathroom. Like you kind of have at least some kind of idea if anything minor what was to happen, you could probably take care of it yourself now and even save more money.
Yeah, not as much as I probably should, but still, it's just like my friends have saved me probably, thousands of dollars, man, thousands of dollars.
Yep.
Because you call these companies on and stuff, and they do a good job and shit, but and I get it. You got to you come out here and you got to make your fucking dough, So they're charging you for labor and all that stuff for driving over here, and it starts to add up like crazy. So yeah, I mean these guys that came over here, and helped us out is just gigantic. Or, even on top of helping us, like I said, he gave us a fucking, desktop space heater that we were able to use, dude. So it's just
Good
it
shit.
pays to have a great support system and good friends.
100%.
I'm glad it's over. But yeah, of course. So Tuesday, we're getting all there's because it's gonna be like a 2-day job, is what I was told. I think Tuesday is when the furnace comes in, and then I think Wednesday is when they'll work on the AC, and of course Tuesday I think is gonna be the coldest day of the year so far. So because
Yeah,
obviously they
I
gotta
saw that.
shut the heat down, but I was told we'll have the heat or the furnace and shit will be up and running that day, so it's not like we'll be going through another 48 hour thing, but um yeah, so we'll get that swapped out, and I'm looking forward to that, man. Because last summer when it was mid July when it's hitting upper 90s, that AC out there, struggling to keep this bitch 70, 374.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice to kind of be able to keep it at a good, because I don't go too crazy because electric bills are fucking wild, but it'll be able to keep it probably like good 70, 72. I have no
Something a little more
problem.
compatible
So
with the house square
yeah,
footage. Something that's going to
yep,
be able to withstand the new climate that it probably wasn't built in back 20 years
yeah,
ago.
yeah. And then I have another buddy. Speaking of friends, that he owns a HVAC company, so we're getting a little bit of a nice discount on that, and he was able to take care of us a little bit on that side of things. So
He's like, all your friends go to Penna or something? Penna Career Center? Got fucking
yeah, and that's the funny part is like we get like James and my buddy Nick Foley, we used to give him shit for going to a vocational school because at the time, we're just dumb high schoolers. In our eyes, that means that because those guys, you do still do school shit, but at the same time, half the day you're doing on you're working on what you're
like
going over
trade
there
work.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah, your trade or whatever. So those two now they own their own business and know they can take care of all their shit at their house. And me, who was Mr.
Who's laughing
fucking
now?
cool guy, jock dude, is calling these guys, begging and pleading for help. But fortunately, they still come through clutch. So
Yeah.
that's that. I do have one more thing to touch on before we bring a guest on. Dylan, I finally tried Ken's Ranch. Banger. That's a banger alert right there. You weren't lying. So far the Ken's honey mustard and the Ken's Ranch, both are elite products, man. I don't know. I want to meet Ken because he's doing it right. Just like I want to meet Dot. I bought at Target. We were there yesterday with the kids because they had a couple gift cards they wanted to use up. Dot's dropped a barbecue flavor of the pretzel rods, so could be a new rookie of the year candidate. Who knows?
Hey, early. Still early.
Yeah. And then the other thing, he never sent me a picture with it, but this is what our guy, you probably won't be able to see it there. I sent over a trophy to the Kyle of the Year, Kyle Brown. It does say 2024 Kyle of the Year on there. So I sent that over to him, and that'll be what the winners will start getting. So nice little, I think it's like a 6-7 inch trophy, nothing crazy, thrown on the mantle. With your other accolades or whatever you got, but he was very
He's got
happy
a lot
to
of
receive
them.
that. So, Kyle's out there. You've seen it. Now we got trophies in the mix. So you want yourself a trophy that says, Kyle of the Year on there. Get it going. But D'Lo,
Yes, sir.
we got another guest, my man. Another fun guest. Just like last week with Tanner Trent, which received a lot of great remarks, comments.
Rocket
People were really digging the NASA talk. But we're gonna get fully into the content creation side, the influencer side. We previously had him and his cohort back on episode 132. Like I told you, Number 6 with Cheese on YouTube is one of my favorite channels, and both those guys kind of have their own separate stuff. And then they also started another channel, Eat Local, where they check out a lot of Chicago area places. They've been having that going on, so like just channels on channels. So I'm gonna ask how the hell they do it, or how the hell he does it with all the other stuff. He just got married, so we got all kinds of stuff to get into, Dylan. But this week for episode 192, we have none other than Sean Ely joining us. Sean, welcome to the show. Welcome back.
What's up, guys?
Got the blue light on.
I got the blue light on.
He's a Michigan guy here, so he's a Lions fan. That's a sick ass hat, by the way, too. Is that something like a local Bass Pro over there? There's some.
Yeah, there's like it's Pass Pro Shops. So it's
oh geez, I fucked that all up. I thought it was
no, it's all right. It's one of those hats that gives you like you kind of do the that second look at it of like, what is it? Yeah. So shout out to wearing merch for an offensive lineman. I think we need more of that. This is Panay School hat.
They don't get
but it's a local like Detroit kind of just like clothing distributor that does drops, and then this hat sold out in like 2 seconds, but my buddy got it for me, so I'm very excited.
That's
I like that, man. I like
that
a lot. Yeah, the O lineman. I was an O lineman. They don't get a lot of love unless I mean someone. If you're the elite of the elite, like our guy Joe Thomas, Dylan, you usually don't you don't hear their name much, which means that usually is a good thing. Because if you're hearing their names during the game, that's most likely because
which is wild for Detroit, because it's like we'll throw to Dan Skipper for a touchdown, which we did this year. And like Panay Sewell was going to they threw him a lateral pass and he was going to throw it. Like, you never know. So like, it's kind of fun. Like they've made offensive linemen in Detroit, like guys that could score, you never.
100%, man. And we're going to get into that too, because you guys are going through what probably feels like a fever dream type of season.
It's not real.
But right out the gate, man, I got to ask, how have you learn, because I would love for you to teach us, how have you been able to turn 24-hour days into 30-hour days? Because I don't know, because like I said in the beginning, you got Number 6 with Cheese, you got Eat Local, you've got your own channel, you do stuff for other companies, you're married, and then you also, I mean, if you look at your Instagram stuff, you still have a social life. And I know the first time we talked to you with Number 6 with Cheese, you guys try to hammer out everything in that same day, but you still got to edit it and all the other stuff that comes with it, posting. How do you do it, man?
I really attribute it to when I graduated from Michigan State. Like, I was a journalism guy, so I was working for newspapers. So like from like my teenage years, because I was even doing it in my high school paper, but that like 24-hour deadline mentality, like when I was working in a industry where every single day you work until the thing is done, you put it out and you start a new blank slate, So I think like doing that, and then my first kind of big marketing job before I was ever like in front of the camera was I had to shoot and edit stuff and put it out that same day. And then when I got a job where I was in front of the camera, it was a daily like content hub before influencers were a thing. So I would like wear t-shirts for a company, edit the video for that day for that company, and then we'd put it out. And there were days on my calendar, quote unquote, that I would like make content for different companies. So like since I was 22, I was kind of doing that. So it's like so ingrained in me now to just shoot, edit, put it out, shoot, edit, put it out. So I don't even know the other side of it. Like I know it probably looks insane, like to someone, to see all this stuff coming out. But to me, it's like just that's an 8-hour day. It's like shooting and editing a couple different things and putting it out. So I don't know. I think it's like stamped in my brain at this point, which is nuts.
Yeah, 100%. Because like there'll be, I mean, there's like every day on one of these channels is something dropping and some kind of content, and then you're still able to enjoy yourself out with the wife and friends and
you have
all
to.
that stuff. So sure. But I mean, even because we do this once a week, and then sometimes we'll do our own vlog here and there when we're out and about, and that'll sometimes take us a week to drop a vlog.
I know. I think like because I've edited so much too, I think the average person, like I can edit. I think that's my main skill. Like in the intro part of this show, Bobby, you were talking about how you can drive a truck and you can what was the other thing? And you can cook.
I can cook.
I was
yeah.
like, I think the main thing I make money from other companies, like when they do want to work with me, is like the editing side. I can edit quickly. I think I can edit pretty good, pretty quickly. So something that I put out that maybe looks like it took a while, I kind of do while I'm having my morning coffee. And like before the day starts, I like to get a lot of editing done. So the rest of the day can be like, networking with clients, talking to people, hanging out with the family, doing those things. I don't like to edit during the day because it's just such a lock-in thing. So I think that's like I think if I had one skill of like, that's the thing, is being able to put stuff out quick,
Dylan, you can kind of relate to that too, because like Sunday, because you're a third shift guy, so like Sunday
Yeah.
nights when we record this in the middle of the night when everyone else is sleeping is when you'll kind of lock in, and because he edits our podcast and stuff. So
Yeah, and then luckily, because I bring it up every time we talk about the post-production parts, is like from the beginning of this when we started, probably post-production probably took 4 hours for one episode. No idea what I was doing, learning on the fly, and then now I could probably crank it out in like 30 minutes for an episode.
Yeah.
So a lot of it comes down to probably just like already presets, and like you know what you want. You kind of like it's the recipe. It's the same recipe. You're just making it and putting it out there. That way it's consistent. But yeah, I mean, I guess like the hard part would be, and which is like the compartmentalizing of all those things that you are doing throughout your 24-hour day. How do you kind of like compartmentalize in your life to make sure that one's not taking over the other, kind of like even out the playing field for you have, like you said, in the morning, you're editing so you can have time for your family and so on and so forth.
Yeah, because I used to be like a night guy too, where like I think it was before COVID. It was like my 20s and early 30s. Allie would go to bed and then I would edit for 3-4 hours. Like I was fine staying up until 2:30 in the morning, and then like
Right.
I'd sleep till 9:30, 10 because I don't have like a traditional 9 to 5. But now that I'm getting older and I'm like, fitness is way more of like a big part of my life, of trying to like shed the calories of eating all this crazy food on camera. I'm like going to bed at 9:30, 10 and waking up early and getting all that stuff. So just like flipped it. So I'm still doing that, but I'm doing it in the mornings now, but yeah, like number 6 with cheese edits and eat local edits only take me an hour now. It used to be one of those things where I would find every single possible cut in clip and I would like color grade everything, and it was great. But then I kind of understood the like work smarter, not harder thing of the audience is really what's all about that show. Like that is not a show that's going to get millions of views. It's not a viral show. We don't do weird, like goofy stuff. There's like these people on YouTube and TikTok that are like ridiculous personalities and that's awesome. Corey and I are just dudes you'd sit at a bar with and have a beer. So it's like,
Sure.
I want the quantity. I always attribute it to those shows are like people's morning podcast or radio station where they expect it to be there. And if it is, they watch that 10-minute video and they get on with their day and they want it every day. So I've got it down now where I edit in an hour, and Corey does half the edits too. Back in the day, I used to edit everything. And now that we're splitting it, it allowed me to do a lot of other things, outside of the show. So it's a really good like balance we have together to like kind of crank it all out. Like he does all the accounting for us, like all our taxes, all of our write-offs, everything with our accountant. I do all of like the website maintenance and like the Sixer sauce stuff and, making sure orders go out and on the website. So we have a really good balance that we've gotten to a good groove, to kind of be able to do it for 8-9 years.
Nice.
Yeah. So one thing you did, Elo was gonna be what, 2 years old this year?
I think so. Yeah.
So because you guys obviously number 6 cheese was all of that incorporated into one, and then a couple years back is when you guys decided to pull off, and do all the Chicago stuff on one channel, and then do basically your fast food and other stuff on number 6 with cheese. What made you guys decide to kind of split that up? Which obviously seems to have paid off because both channels look to be receiving an uptick in views and stuff. But
yeah, it was Corey's idea to make the second channel, and I was like, I thought it's going to be more work to like make all the branding, the second uploads on another, and then we kind of talked about it. YouTube has changed so much since we started in 2016, and like before we started. Or when we started, vertical content and short content wasn't a thing yet. And so YouTubers were kind of like, they were the thing. There was no brand deals with Instagram and TikTok and Twitter and things like that. Like YouTube was where we would just get like commercial opportunities and brand opportunities, never had to pitch ourselves. Like the content was there. There was only so many really good food review channels. And we kind of were like the normal guys, the good editing, and we got opportunities from that. And then as it kind of progressed and the way YouTube changed was people consume content so intentionally and they don't even realize it. Like you only follow the things that you know you want to see. Like, for example, Number 6 with Cheese was like all fast food reviews, right? It was like you knew what you were going to get. You could live anywhere in the world, the country, whatever, and you could relate to the episodes. And then we love the local stuff. We love Chicago, and we were doing it on that channel. And then those views would like not be as much as the fast food stuff. So it was like, you don't realize that like if you put out a video that doesn't do well, it hurts all your other videos. We're in like everyone has to be a banger on your channel now. And so Corey was like, let's make an Eat Local channel and put all the local stuff. That'll garner its own local audience. That's exactly what people want to see. They want to see Chicago stuff, people that are traveling here, people that live here. There'll be the diehards that live in the suburbs that like are generations and generations. Their family's been going to these spots, you know. And he was right. Like those views are now up because they're their own thing. And Number 6 with Cheese's videos are up. Our views are up. So like they benefited each other. So now like if you just want to see us review Burger King and McDonald's and stuff, like you don't need to subscribe to Eat Local. Like no big deal. But then there's people that are like, I don't watch any of your fast food stuff. I don't care about that crap. Like I want to see all the best pizza and Italian beefs and hot dogs in Chicago. So like it's crazy. Like we were shooting ourselves in the foot by putting everything on one channel. So just like that's the way YouTube works now. Like audiences want exactly what they want and only what they want, and then YouTube penalizes you if you don't do that. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean we can kind of relate though, Bobby. I mean there was a time maybe around season 3 or 4 where we were thinking of like we were more like view driven. Now we're kind of doing it more as like a hobby, relax, kickback, just talking shop. But when we were looking at numbers and stuff and wanting to grow, and not getting that growth that we wanted or expected based on the work that we were putting in. We were just thinking of like maybe the talking shop idea on paper is great because it's free fluent. I mean, just a couple guys talking shop, talking about anything under the sun. But maybe that was hurting us at the same time because there was no specific direction on where we wanted to go as far as topics. And I mean, one week we'd be talking football where there's like someone who maybe just listened to us for the first time last week when we were talking about, say, NASA, for instance. They're really into that, but they might not be really into the football talk. So
yeah, exactly.
There's no like specific direction where we're probably losing and gaining at the same time, so it stays stagnant.
Yeah, I think like that. I like so my channel is kind of like it's cooking, but it also allows me to do whatever I want. I don't care as much about the views. The views have been good and everything. And that's really not why I do it. Like Number 6 with Cheese and Eat Local, I want to do well because we want to be able to keep doing it and make money from it and have an audience grow. And like, It is a business. There's an LLC, you know, like we love doing it, but we're almost 10 years into it. You know, you don't keep doing it unless you love it. And also it's doing well. So like, I totally relate. Like, you need the like outlet to be able to do whatever you want and not worry about the business side of everything. Like, especially with you guys talking about football and anything you want, your lives and things like that. Like podcasts, like you can fall in love with the hosts and you're kind of rock with them, kind of what they talk about. You know, I do that with like celebrity podcasts, like because I like a person, they're funny on stage. If it's a stand-up, like I kind of want to hear them talk about whatever. They're like a brand of themselves. But people that like just watch a bunch of food content, they only love you until you stop serving a purpose. Like it's very funny. Like it's because we all grew up watching like Diners, Drive-ins and Dives and, you know, Man versus Food and stuff. Like it's the show is great hosts, but it's also like I want the premise like drives it, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. Before I forget too, because I want to make sure, because last time you're on, we used to have 3 hosts. Our buddy Joe that we shout out earlier. His boss is a big fan of you guys too. His name's Corey Leffler. He buys a shit ton of your guys' sauce.
Oh wow!
So I figured I'd have you, throw him a little shout out.
Yeah, what's up? You said what's his name? Corey Leffler. You said.
Yeah.
What's up, Corey?
He buys a shit ton of your guys' sauces and stuff. So
how do you spell his last name?
I think it's Leffler, right, Dylan?
I believe so. That sounds right.
That's amazing. That's so cool. What's up, man? That's really cool that he likes the show. We have such a great like Ohio following, obviously because of Corey and stuff being from Toledo. But man, the diehards like are really from Michigan and Ohio because like where we're from. And I'd say Ohio is like by far for Number 6 with Cheese is like 60% of the audience. It's great.
Wow. Yeah, that makes sense. Because I mean,
Mhm.
that's Midwestern. We love our fast food, and and seriously, I bought your guys's the buffalo sauce not too long ago. All that
Thank
stuff you
you.
guys have dropped have been bangers and stuff. So
Appreciate
I'm
you.
glad because some of these guys will just drop stuff to drop stuff. So I like that you guys actually put in work into like the sauces and things
Yeah.
that you throw out there because they're legitimately good. They're not just
Yeah, we
looks
could
like
have
a buck.
done because there's like, people that have approached us. Like we could have just done, somebody makes a sauce and we slap our name on it or whatever.
Yeah,
Like you can do that once you have a following. Like, but we're just so genuine. Like we try so hard to, we could make videos that probably do better views if we just like played the game, but we just like it the way we do it, and it's like, what's the point of doing this unless you kind of can stamp your name on it and, you kind of feel the fact that you're being real with your audience. So you want the products and that stuff to be real too. Like when you make t-shirts and hats, they can be crappier quality and you can make more money, but then you're doing that, it's the whole thing. And you guys are wrestling guys. I always talk about, I think Jericho used to say when he like left WWE, he was like, yeah, now that I can finally like talk crap on WWE, the quality of the shirts on the website, he's like, it's like wearing a hotel towel over your torso because they
yeah.
use
So
like the 100% cotton or whatever.
yeah, and then
It's so
one wash,
bad.
they're 2 sizes too small, and
Oh my god, dude! My Austin 316 shirt is like it's uncomfortable. It hurts to wear. Like it's literally
yeah,
like made of like knapsack or whatever. It's like a potato sack. It's
yeah,
awful, and
it
I love this
sucks.
shirt so
And
much, but
it's
it
like
hurts.
$35 a shirt. It's like, come on,
But
man.
anyways,
You
we
get at
don't
least
do
a
that.
couple wears. Yeah, yeah.
So what is
No,
the
I
process in that making the sauces and getting the flavors and do you like
Yeah,
taste
this
test like the
Yeah, the sauce thing was really cool because we had a chef that watched our show out of Palm Beach, Florida, and he had been a chef for 30 years and he was retiring. And it was like during the hot sauce craze, like how craft beer had its huge boom and seltzers had a boom. Like hot sauce kind of had that same thing around the beginning of like hot ones really getting popular. And he was like, I'm going to make hot sauces. And that's going to be my kind of like, I'm retiring, but not retiring. Like, I feel like all of us will do, like, cause you're too creative. Like you can't just retire. So he started doing that. So we kind of were chatting with him and he's like, I know exactly what your guys' flavor profile is based on, we were doing those hot sauce review videos for years too, called, was like on Mondays we would do it. And, so that, yeah, he was like sending us prototypes and stuff. And like, we were going back and forth on what we wanted in it, what taken out of it, but he pretty much knocked it out of the park, right away. So we did 2 sauces with him. And then we wanted to do a third sauce. I wanted to partner with somebody that like I personally was a huge fan of what they were making. And so we reached out to Scott at Lucky Dog Hot Sauce, which he's in the Bay Area, California. He's been on Hot Ones a bunch. Like he goes to farmers markets every weekend and like sells us. He's just like the most blue collar hot sauce guy, nicest guy in the world, such a good mind, like is always making sauces. And we had told him we wanted to do a sauce that was like you could use like a buffalo sauce, but we just hate the traditional vinegar bomb sauces. So we're like, what can we make? So he probably did like 15 iterations of a sauce to make it perfect because he's like a perfectionist. And so we're talking to him back and forth and trying stuff and throwing out these weird ideas of using like black garlic and can you put raspberry in a buffalo sauce and stuff like that. And yeah, so it was really cool building it, like he's the mastermind behind the actual cooking and things like that. And we kind of knew how to market it and incorporating it into our show. And my wife helps us with all the branding. So she's like an amazing designer. So she does the labels for our stuff. So it was really a good collaboration between like everybody involved.
that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get some of the inside scoop here. If there, I don't know what are you guys' plans? And if is there another sauce, a seasoning?
Yeah, I think
Anything?
we've got some good partners right now of things that could really happen. We started getting our sauce sold in a market here in Chicago at Top Butcher, which is really cool. And we've like always been able to get it in stores. We just were like, we're comedians, we're like writers, we're like hosts. Do we really want our lives to be like restocking grocery shelves of our sauce and making like a few $100? You know what I mean? So we've been like really probably like turning down opportunities because we know how much work it's going to be and we're trying to do all these other things outside of it. But yeah, there's going to be more sauces for sure. Now that we're like partnered with Scott, I think the opportunities are kind of endless because he's so down for whatever. So we've like kicked around some ideas of what the next one might be. We eventually, like, I don't think we can do it with Scott. We'd have to do it with somebody bigger. The pie in the sky would be doing a shelf stable ranch dressing. That's like a spicy ranch that like Corey and I can have, but those are just harder when it's like dairy based.
Okay.
So that's like a fun thing. And then we have a bunch of really awesome sponsored stuff coming up that I don't know if these I told Corey, I think 2025 is the year of the food influencer, because I think now brands and like agencies have caught up understanding that influencer marketing is like the only way to market your stuff anymore. Like no one cares about anything else food wise. So we've been getting these really awesome opportunities. And so we've got a bunch of fun stuff coming up for that. So we're going to be shooting in January and February, a bunch of just really fun, some Chicago brands, some national brands. Yeah, it's just like the docket just got loaded up, which is really, really cool.
It's good to hear.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. I like that. Have you thought about doing or releasing anything on like your channel yourself?
Like,
you still do a lot of like food based content over there too.
yeah, a lot of cooking and stuff. Yeah, I've thought
Yeah.
about like I need to hire someone personally, like for my own stuff. I need like a editor / assistant that I can pay a monthly kind of like, gig kind of thing to take care of some of that stuff. Cause I'm like, I am getting, as much as I love, we were talking about the grind of doing all the editing and things like that. You do hit a point where you can't grow because you're doing it all yourself. It's the same way, like why managers delegate to other people. It's like the higher up you get at a company, you're getting paid more and doing less work because you're good at delegating. And like, that's one thing I've struggled with is like, I need to bite the bullet and get someone to edit and take more time off my plate there where I can like get good merch for my channel and do some different things. You know what I mean? So 2025, like I've told myself, is kind of a year where I'm finally going to invest in that side of things so I can open up my brain to doing more, cause I'm editing so much for restaurants too, to pay the bills outside of Number 6 with Cheese and Eat Local and my stuff, like I'm sure you've seen like Crave Kebabs, a Mediterranean restaurant by my apartment that I've worked with for years. And I'm doing all their social and I'm editing every day. So it's like, I need to delegate that to someone else so that I can start doing merch and fun stuff.
Yeah. So speaking of your channel, and people are gonna probably think you're like downtrodden and down your luck when I say this, but right now you're in your frozen food era.
Yeah.
It's been fun to watch because here's the thing. Some people scoff at that, but there's some good frozen food out there. I mean, the ingredients list is longer than like some books that you can read.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it is.
the food itself, some of it's not half bad, so it's been fun to watch because my parents used to do the Salisbury steaks.
It's
And
so
like
much
the
nostalgia,
baked
Bobby. Like
chicken.
that's
Yeah,
the thing.
yeah.
Like it's baked into, I was the same way. Like TV dinners were such a staple of like America, but also my family. And so I love my channel where I can do an idea I have. I'm like, I'm going to try this old thing because I love old commercials. Like you see me always like in my episodes, I'll react to like old commercials.
Yep.
And being from Detroit, and I'm sure Toledo's like that too, where like local advertising and like it's how the Detroiters, the show is so like is spot on of like advertising is so popular and sticks around for so long on TV and in our heads. Like they're still running commercials in Detroit that they ran when my dad was a kid. And so I was trying to manifest some of that. And on my channel, you can donate. And if somebody's like, hey, my parents used to have these Encore Parmesan chicken patties all the time, like do that. So I love that it's like a choose your own adventure. Like I make a video and it makes this like MCU broken timeline where we go over here. And like, there's just all these, that's what I love about it is like you allow your audience to dictate where the videos go rather than like having an agenda and doing what you want to do. So that's like how that started. Like I didn't want to do all these frozen food things, but it created this narrative. And then I did that banquet frozen chicken video and that got like 60,000 views and I gained like 600 subscribers in 3 days or something. Like that's what's insane about YouTube is like that can happen off of the dumbest video,
Yeah, because there's probably a lot of people like me that like I forgot about the bacon because we used to eat that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, it's been so long. Obviously now I'll go and get like real fried chicken or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so watching that, it definitely takes you back to back in the day with your parents and stuff.
Yeah.
And one thing I did notice, though, I'm gonna warn you. I don't know if you've done any frozen burritos, but
No.
we just got a new Ninja air fryer. So like basically, that kind of takes over most of the stuff I used to do in the oven. But I tried to air fry a couple frozen. They're like breakfast burritos. It was crispy on the outside.
Oh, dude, I have the hack.
Ice cube in the middle, dude.
That's
one of the hardest things ever to warm up.
I'm telling you, I've learned, like Corey and I talk about this all the time, is like having brought home so many leftovers and done frozen food things. Cause like for Number 6 with Cheese, we used to do it back in the day too. The move is to microwave it basically all the way or 80%. Like, so it's scalding hot and it's like soft. So the inside is like molten hot. And then you put it in the air fryer pretty much on like 400 to 425 for like a minute or two. You kind of check it, then you flip it over. Cause yeah, those tortillas just turn to glass. It'll
Yeah.
just like shatter.
Yeah.
So yeah, like anyone listening out there that's trying to reheat food, microwave it because you think you're like making it all soggy, but then you air fry it. Because bread of any kind, like any carb, is just going to get destroyed if you do full air fryer.
That's a pro tip.
I'm
'Cause,
telling
I
you,
was
it
like,
works.
all right, this thing's
Next time
gotta
you
be
do it,
done.
I'm telling you, like microwave the burrito on one side 30 seconds, flip it over 30 seconds, and then put it in the air fryer and just like keep watching. Don't be afraid to like keep taking it out of the Ninja and doing it. It's going to change your life.
That's smart, man. Yeah, because it came out. It was golden brown. It was
I know.
crisp on the outside. Took a first bite. I mean, I wanted to throw that bitch against my wall. I was
know.
so mad.
Mhm.
Frozen cold. But on the outside, it was molten hot.
Yeah, I
So
know.
they totally got me on that. But
I'm
that's-
going to check
that's
back
smart.
with you like next week or the week after. I'm going to text you and be like,
I'm like,
what I
"Good
tell
idea.
you, what I
Eat
tell
anything
you.
but burritos. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man, that's been fun to watch too. Cause like I said, we used to do my parents cause they worked all day. So, you know,
Yeah.
they come home, you
Mhm.
toss in one of them Salisbury steaks things in the oven for 45 minutes,
Yeah.
instant mashed potatoes, and you got dinner. So
You know how you hear about chefs who are like fine dining chefs and they come home and they just eat like Taco Bell or they make like macaroni and cheese because they can't be around it anymore. My dad was a butcher for 40 years and, you know, worked in the grocery store business and was like on his feet all day in a cooler cutting meat. Union job, you know, like just the most blue collar you could be. So when he would come home, he most of the time just wanted to throw food in like a microwave or an oven and like not think about it because he's literally been standing all day. He would make really fun meals for us on the weekends and stuff. But like, so despite my dad like cutting these amazing like prime rib steaks all day and stuff like that, he would make a Hungry Man TV dinner. I like remember it like it was yesterday. He'd sit in his chair, he'd put on like Letterman late at night and eat a TV dinner. And so like I had this like good wave of feeling of like I think a lot of people dealt with that, like their dad or their parents like just throwing in, or like you said, having to make your own food, so you just throw it in. So
Yeah.
like a kid could do it too, you know, and like the lean or the kid cuisine meals. Remember those?
Oh yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I remember
With
it
the
well.
penguin.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Like gotta love the brownie with the sprinkles in it.
I know.
You know?
Yeah.
Friggin' brownie.
Yeah. So I got one. Cause I'm gonna probably shoot over a dono here soon because I want you to try some. My mom used to make it all the time, and it's kind of wild on the surface, but she made it into a banger because obviously we were lower middle class, but she would get cans of salmon,
Oh
canned
wow.
salmon,
Yeah.
and she would shoot breadcrumbs, a couple other things, and make them into patties, and then kind of just basically cook them like they're burgers or whatever,
Yeah.
topped with QP mayo, and they were good.
Oh,
But
I'm
then,
sure.
I mean, it just the fact that you're using canned salmon and stuff, but it was one of those things, just kind of like your banquet stuff where it was cheap and you could get it done pretty easily.
Yeah.
And I think I got to see you try it, man, because that
Oh,
was
I love
was
that so
definitely
much.
that was definitely something we had semi often with some rice and stuff. So
I
yeah,
love it. That's like right up my alley of why I love the cooking stuff, because of that exact story, and nothing hits harder than like a nostalgic food. And then when it's cooking, the smell like takes you back. And then that first bite, it like transforms you to a good time. Like there's just something about it. It's so cool. And so getting to cook other people's versions of that, and then they see me like a person that has never made it, having to interact with the recipe and things like that. And I don't know, it's just really neat. It's like a silly little corner of the internet that's just fun. There's like no negativity to it. There's so much bad stuff in the world. Like to just watch someone making old nostalgic foods that people loved is like simple and stupid and easy,
Yeah, nostalgia in general is just such a absolute drug in its own right. Where it's like
I know.
even the sound effects on TikTok with it came from a Donkey Kong game, right? I'm pretty sure.
yeah, the underwater level, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God.
It's like that. Just hearing that alone just like makes you just like it's like it takes you back and
Yeah.
flashes
Yeah,
through a bunch
or
of good
even
times.
like I seen a video. It was just playing ads or like previews of movies. I think it was the movie that it was for was like one of the Ninja Turtle movies, but it was the previews beforehand. And even just watching those, I was like,
Oh,
"Holy
wow.
shit!"
Yeah.
Because one of them was like was the Burger King like Kids Club
Oh yeah.
commercial, and it
Yeah.
was like, "Oh my god!" It takes like those moments where you get to just jump back in time for a minute. Those are the best, man.
Do you guys remember like the book it from Pizza Hut where you'd read enough books? And
Oh yeah,
so my wife's been on like there's a library in our neighborhood in Chicago that she's like actively has a library card. You can order books like through an app and then she can go pick them up and whatever. So I told her that I'm going to make her an adult book it pin that she has to wear. And when she reads like 5 books, I'm going to take her out for like oysters because she's got fancy taste. She likes oysters.
Oh, no,
But I was like,
I think you
it's
get
like,
her the personal
it's like
pan.
the most adult thing of like, instead of Pizza Hut buffet, it's she gets a platter of oysters and like a martini every time she reads 5
Yeah,
books.
there you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll work. Yeah, I used to. I think my parents have a couple of photo albums with some booklet coupons.
Oh my
Used to get
God.
the little personal pan pizza, or my school too. If you had perfect attendance, you'd get a free movie,
Yeah.
popcorn and pop at our local movie theater. So you used to get those too.
Oh my God, I love it. I miss it so much. Like going to the movie, that feeling of like being able to do it and like your mom dropping you off with your friends, like, and then she's gonna come pick you up. And oh, man, what a good time. Like what a good time of going out with friends.
Yeah,
Just
100%.
zero
Trying to hold
responsibility.
a girl's hand and then always chickening out. You know how it is.
The classic yawn move.
Classic, dude.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah, the yawn move was everything.
Yeah.
Oh, how'd that hand get there? Sorry.
So for your channel, I guess what would you say is the long-term goals on that? Because I know you're just you're kind of treating your channel like we treat this podcast, more of like the hobby side of things.
Yeah. I think like the beauty of it is that I don't have a plan. Everything else I do and like all the other social media influencing and video, it all has like I have content calendars all, figured out, and these brand deals we're doing, I have to come up with these, you have to come up with a list of video ideas and give them to the client for like the next 6 months. So I already know what I'm shooting in June. So I kind of like that. It's like, however I'm feeling, there's no like amount of videos I need to put out, because Eat Local, there's 2 a week. Number 6 with Cheese, there's 2 a week. We've never missed an upload, right? With mine, it's like, if I get busy, I don't upload and I don't stress out about it. If I have some time, like I have an open Sunday where football's on and I can make a chili and vlog it, like great. If I don't feel good that day and I don't feel confident in front of the camera, I'm just feeling off, no big deal. But I think like my goal always, like if I could do anything, would be to travel for like an extended amount of time and just vlog every day. So like go to a city, go to Minneapolis, do Juicy Lucy's and do like a bunch of fun Minnesota stuff for like 4 or 5 episodes, right? And then go to another city. And like, so if I was younger, if I didn't have, wife and dog and like trying to figure out the future of what we're doing, it's like, that would be the goal, is just to like because I can shoot and edit on my own thing and put out videos and make money, a little bit enough to get by. I would love like little pockets of that. I'd love to like go somewhere for like 10 days and make it a content trip and have fun, because like when I bring my camera, it doesn't really feel like work to me. I like enjoy making the videos. I love the cinematography. I love flying the drone. I like getting these weird city shots that I think of when I'm walking by. Like I like my brain to just kind of go. So I think if I can do trips like that every so often, that would really satiate like my personal, thing. I can cook forever and that's great, but I love the like going out, kind of not knowing what a video is going to look like. When I went to El Salvador for that gig I had like last year, and I vlogged while I was there outside of, because I was a video producer for a big project. So like my downtime was just me going and experiencing El Salvador and trying food and meeting people and trying to get by with the language. If I could do that full time, that would be the greatest gig for me.
Yeah, I like that. And that's kind of like, because when we go on trips and stuff around, like, and we're looking for places to eat, like I don't want to go to their local Applebee's. I want to
No.
go to
No way.
Danny's, whatever, Burger Shack, or whatever, because that's where you're gonna find the bangers and stuff. So yeah, that's cool, because you've done that a few times. I think you were down, I think New Orleans, right?
I was there for like 3 weeks. Yeah, it's a perfect example. Like doing that is really, really cool. And I don't even need to be like, because I was getting paid really well to do those producing gigs. So like I could have just taken that time to myself and like not worked, but like I can't sit still. I don't know if you guys are like that too. Like downtime for me is really, really tough. Like that's another thing I could probably get better about, is truly being able to shut off and like just watch something and like not look at my phone, not be constantly thinking of video ideas or checking DMs for like potential, gigs I could be doing. Cause I get a lot of work just on people shooting DMs on Instagram or like, hey, can you shoot this thing? So yeah, it's like balancing all of that. But like, I would love to just be able to go shoot stuff and then like have time off. I'm trying to figure out what that balance looks like, but I don't know. When you're like in this business and you grow up, like college and after that, like everything was content based. It felt like, and journalism was put out as much as you can. Like I said in the beginning of this episode, it's tough to like shake that. It's like the unlearning phenomenon of like, you have to unlearn something. And it's like therapy. It takes time to do, it's a weird phenomenon.
have you? Because like I said, you just got married not too long ago.
Mhm.
I imagine at some point you guys are gonna want to start your own family and stuff.
Right.
Have you and Corey talked about like in that scenario where you got your a month out or whatever from having your baby? Are you guys just
Mhm.
gonna bank a bunch of stuff? Are you gonna shut it down for however long, or what would your plan be with?
We haven't talked about it because it hasn't been like a serious conversation with like both sides yet of like,
Yeah,
once, because we were always going back and forth and if we were going to do that or not, like, like have a family, things like that. So the fact that now I know like I do want to do that. And as I've gotten older, like priorities have really shifted. I honestly don't think doing number 6 with Cheese and Eat Local would take time off because I only go out with Corey once a week for 3 hours and film 4 episodes. And then I can just edit my 2 of those 4 in the next week. Like, I think my channel would probably take more of a hiatus, like doing things like that in the house because I have like a baby or pregnant wife or whatever. But yeah, you check back with me afterwards if I'm totally full of shit and there's no way I could ever pull that off. But as of right now, I don't think that show would take a hit. Like, I think because we're so locked in by how little amount of time it takes to shoot and edit that I think we could do it. Like, I think people think because these episodes are dropping all the time, it's a huge part of our lives, but the production of it's really not that bad. We have it all
I can
mapped
see you
out,
in the front seat with that little wrap or whatever with you got your
like
baby
Zach
on your
Galifianakis.
on your
Yeah, and The
chest,
Hangover.
trying the latest
That would do
Wendy's
really
chicken
well.
pie.
Yeah, just giving little bites to my kid.
Yeah, there it
Yeah.
is, man.
And then all the comments
Yeah.
are like, "Yeah, Father of the Year. This guy sucks." Like, just giving his kid nuggets. Yeah, we'll
There
see.
it is, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was curious.
No, that's a good question.
So let's we're gonna talk about it, man. Let's get into your Lions, man. What a crazy year.
Oh my God.
Like I said earlier, it's got to probably feel like a fever dream because you're kind of like me and Dylan here for the longest time. The Browns have been trash and the Lions were right there with them, but
Yeah.
you guys finally shattered that and got away with it. Whereas the Browns kind of fell down 10 floors, but
Yeah. But how quickly it can all swing back the other way, which is what the Lions proved. Like, you
hopefully,
get the right
yeah.
person. It's just that hope of like, it really doesn't take a decade to rebuild like an NFL franchise. It just takes like literally a general manager and a head coach that understand what to do, and ownership. I mean, like Sheila Ford's been great for, the transition of like the Lions, like front office has just been incredible. You see Gibbs running for 4 touchdowns and stuff like that, but like, it really is, that whole family is like all in on what Campbell and Holmes are doing. It's really cool. I mean, and to like what Dan Campbell has got out of Jared Goff needs to be talked about more. I mean, the dude was literally like, they were like, all right, he's all done. Like, it's over for him after the trade. And then my friends like, were like, after Stafford got traded, I was personally so excited. I was so ready to be done with him. And I loved, and everything he did for the city was incredible. He was such a great franchise quarterback at a time when we were like, nothing was really going well. But I was so ready for that to be done. You know what I mean? It just felt like we couldn't get out of it. I threw away all my Lions shirts from that era. I was also like scrubbing myself of it. I was like, it's all Dan Campbell's Detroit Lions, like Motor City Dan Campbell. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, it's incredible. It's incredible to have this feeling on Sundays that like, oh my God, I'm excited to watch NFL football. Cause most of the time I was like, this sucks, dude. Like, this just sucks.
Yeah,
and I was all in on college, cause like Michigan State went through that Mark D'Antonio era where they were really good. And I went to a college football playoff with my friends. Like, so now it's like all in on the Lions.
Yeah. I mean, what was the feeling of, when that trade happened? Obviously, you said you were excited. Your new era coming in with Goff, but then you see Stafford go with the Rams and then win a Super Bowl that following year.
Yeah, that's like, a lot of people were like, "Well, like, you probably saw it." Like, Lions fans were like, "This one's for us too." I was like, "You guys are insane, bro." He plays in LA. Like, no way.
Yeah,
I don't know. I was really happy for him because he is such a great quarterback and he kind of paid his dues, and like, it's really cool that it worked with McVay for him to that quickly win. And I think that Rams team, with Puka Nacua too and Cooper, like, the Vikings got to be terrified because I don't want to play the Rams again. I hope to God like the Commanders win or something today, because I do not want to play the Rams again.
Because that would be the culmination right there.
Because how many times are we going to have to play Stafford at Ford Field? I'm sick of this.
Yeah,
It's already happened twice.
after this year. So like the fact that he might be able to play at Ford Field one more time, and there's gonna be
I hate
a
it.
lot of dramatics with that.
Oh, I hate it. I hate the storyline of that.
And I also
so
hate
much.
that, like, why do they boo that guy? He didn't ask for it to be traded.
I think it's more about his wife and kids, to be honest. If you really want the inside thing, his wife has been pretty nasty to Detroit. Like she went through like she had like a brain tumor, a brain surgery, and like everybody in Detroit was like super like compassionate about it. And then she said some things about like how much better living in LA is than Detroit. Oh yeah, say things we don't already know. You mean Southern California is better than the border of Windsor and Detroit? Yeah, I know. You know what I mean? So like I think Detroit fans like got chippy about it. And we're so like Kelly Stafford said she's not going to go to Ford Field, or she doesn't want to go to Ford Field if the Rams have to play the Lions again. And then people were retweeting it and we're like, no, come back. We want to boo your kids again. It's just like it's all in good love. Like everyone in Detroit loves Stafford, but like you know how it is. It's so easy to be like, if you're going to say something about the city of Detroit, no one's going to dunk on you harder than people from Detroit. Like you cannot talk shit about that city.
Yeah. Probably the same thing with like Cleveland too.
Oh, 100%.
Those blue collar cities in the Rust Belt.
They're like the same city.
We can talk shit about our own team, all right, but we don't need it from anyone else on the outside.
Dude, I always want to see Cleveland do well because it's the same thing. It's just like I want Detroit and Cleveland to succeed so badly. Like
that's the Super Bowl America wants.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
Yeah.
I would explode. It'd be so awesome.
I actually can't imagine it.
No, maybe
it's like Joakim Noah. He was on the Bulls back in the day. He had all that shit about Cleveland. He's like, no one comes here to vacation.
Yeah,
like, no shit, man. But this is our area. This is our team.
Yeah,
like, fuck you, man. But yeah, that'll be wild, man. If the Rams, because I mean, obviously, not to look ahead because the Vikings aren't bad. They're actually a really good team.
They're great. Yeah,
kind of depends on what Sam Bradford does. He's had a kind of a wild year out of nowhere. But
or Darnold. I think like
sorry.
They're also doing that game in Arizona. So like LA, despite all the fires, also doesn't even get a home game. You know what I mean? Like that sucks. So like that's also, but it does benefit Minnesota a lot that they don't have to play at SoFi, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I really do think the Commanders are going to win today. I know we're filming this. It's going to come out afterwards. And if I'm wrong, you're going to be like, dude was an idiot. But man, I really like a Jaden Daniels at Ford Field is really fun.
Yeah. And actually, we are recording on a Sunday. Before we started, I seen Patriots are hiring Mike Vrabel. So that's
good.
Big time pickup.
Get these Ben Johnson jobs already taken so we don't lose Ben Johnson. If he goes to the Bears, I'm going to cry for a week.
Yeah, and Dylan, I mean, another gut punch for us is the guy that helped kind of put us in a good spot, John Dorsey. We kicked him out the door, and now he's helping these guys reach the pinnacle maybe. So he's somebody you don't want to lose either because he like I don't even really know why we let him go, Dylan. He had like one hiccup and they just like
he hired Freddie Kitchens.
No, that's right. Yeah,
if that was the actual mistake that cost him his job, and he didn't have an option to hire another coach, like he's very power hungry. Like in the Detroit position, he's not actually the GM. All right, if I correct me if I'm wrong, Sean, but he's not actually the GM. He's more of like a consultant too, where he's like probably not as hands on as he was in Cleveland, where he was the man. He was calling all the shots.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, from my understanding, he was very power hungry. He wanted to coach a yes man coach, Freddie Kitchens. I'm pretty sure Baker Mayfield had a input on that as well.
I'm sure.
It was just an absolute dumpster fire in 2019. Unfortunately, cost his job.
Yeah, and I forgot we traded him with Zadarius Smith too. So,
man, thank you for him.
He was happy.
Oh my God,
jump off our ship over there.
I love him. I love him so much. He couldn't fit. I mean, he fit Cleveland too because of how he is. But like, man, the mirror of like him and Rasheed Wallace, both like when Rasheed came and like they look alike. Rasheed came to Detroit. They won a title. Like it's just kind of. It feels like there's too much fate going on right now. But what a personality that dude is. He's a blast.
He's great. I liked when he was over here, and he's pretty solid.
Good locker room guy.
But it seems like when he's done, he's done. He's like, if I don't want to play for you, I don't want to be here. Yeah. He was very, very like forward about that.
Yep. But yeah, with all you guys have been through, man, you guys are kind of the team of destiny. So hopefully you guys can keep it rolling.
Keep putting the Band-Aids on the defense.
What you gotta do, which seems you guys can do, is just score 40 points a game.
I know.
You should be all right. Defensively is kind of, but I mean, you got a lot of injuries on that side. So, but
man,
is just
Aaron Glenn,
like no other.
That defensive coordinator is something else, man. The way he schemed for the Vikings, it was so apparent. We had not gotten to the quarterback in in 8 weeks, you know, and then I felt like Darnold like literally had no time to throw. I mean, that was something special. And he's putting these guys in that are like literally third, fourth stringers. I think that's when you really see a good coach is like, no matter the next man up mentality. You see like programs talk about it. And I learned that when I played football in 9th grade. Of course that's a thing, but to say that and do it, and then to really like bring these guys, you know, to give them these opportunities, like the lockdown on Jefferson last week too with Amik Robertson. Like the dude has been cut from so many teams and things like that. He looked like a Pro Bowler, you know, like it helped that Darnold missed every one of his throws, but still, you know, I don't know. Like it's really, really cool. I think that we get David Montgomery back also. He like just said he wasn't going to have MCL surgery, and then now he's just going to play, which is insane.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, hopefully we score 40 a game. I think we'll be okay if we do.
Yeah.
And then the news of probably getting Henderson back
That's what
in
they're
the Super
saying.
Bowl.
Oh, Hutchinson?
Hutchinson, my bad. Yeah.
So Campbell keeps saying that's not real. He's like, yeah, when he first got hurt, it was realistic, but he's like, I don't think there's any way that he actually is going to play. So we'll see. I don't know. You know how it is with the coaching. It's like, do they want to just like kind of brush that away so we stop talking about it and we focus on, you know, the divisional round and then the championship? But I don't know. How in the world would he play? That's insane. Like he broke 2 parts of his leg. I don't know.
Like right after player intros, like, and everyone thinks they're about to do the coin toss. He needs to do like a Cody Rhodes, like rise out of.
Can you imagine? And might as well just play his Cody's song too, because that thing gets me fired up. But yeah, like just take him off IR, just like because like weeks before, and then don't play him, and then I don't know. What if you played him in the second half like a Disney movie? Like he, you know, he comes out and he's like, he's active. He was in his gear, but he didn't play. And in the second half, he just gets like 6 sacks.
Or yeah, like we were talking wrestling. Like he comes out in that wheelchair with the cast. And he takes the blanket off.
Who was that? Was that Kevin Nash? Yeah. Such a good analogy for that.
Yeah. And also it's just so sick that like Eminem's just at all these games.
Oh,
Eminem,
Detroit guys.
You know what I mean? Just everybody going crazy. He's legit about it. So but yeah, we were just talking about Detroit and Cleveland being, you know, cities that are diehards for their squads. You live in Chicago as a Detroit fan, so I'm interested to know how that goes on, you know, a couple Sundays a year where, you know, you're kind of you know, in the red zone there.
It's weird because these transplant cities like Chicago, I live in the city, so like there's more Vikings, Packers, Lions fans that outnumber Bears fans. So like if I go to a sports bar or any bar in any NFC North stuff, I'm seeing just as many of everybody else. So like if I truly think it's kind of how Detroit is too, because like people live in Detroit, but like the surrounding areas, like I'm from Redford and I lived in Royal Oak and Farmington Hills and like, you know, Northville and then downriver. Like you go into those bars and it's like you're not going to see anything but Detroit Lions everything. I think that's kind of how Chicago is in the suburbs. Like if you go to any of like you go west or north a little bit, like a lot of my really good friends live like in Downers and they live in Lisle, Illinois, and it's like you would never see a Lions fan wearing a Lions shirt in a bar. So like in the city, you don't feel like I see 49, I see Dolphins fans. It's like crazy. There's bars that are like there's a Baltimore Ravens bar near my apartment. Like, so it's really easy being a Lions fan in Chicago, in the city. Like it's like you'd get no hate at all. One of my favorite things was I went to a Bears bar. I wonder what week this was this year. They were playing, it doesn't really matter who they were playing, but the Lions Packers was on all the other TVs. So it was like, I was in my Lions starter jacket and there was like a couple other Packers fans. And then Bears all watching, like, I don't know, it was just a Bears game that didn't matter really because they were playing like not even a divisional opponent. And the Bears fans were just like booing the Packers, like wanted the Packers to lose more than they wanted their own team to win. There's like a weird disconnect there. Like, let's focus on the team that's playing. Why are you so mad about the Packers? Like, I don't know. It's weird. But anyways, to answer your question, like super fun being a Detroit fan right now in Chicago, being able to walk around with like all these clothes on and stuff. And everyone says something. Like Bears fans are pretty happy for Lions, I think, overall.
Really?
Yeah. Like because they hate the Packers so much, like most of the Bears people I run into, no one ever talks shit to me or says anything other than like, hey, it's good to see Dan Campbell's the man, dude. You guys got it figured out. Like, I hope you guys win. You know, I don't know. It's weird. It's like how,
That
and
is
maybe the
weird.
suburbs would be different, but the city, like I never get shit talked at all. And I wear exclusively Lions clothes out now.
I thought they were going to be legit this year, man, but maybe Caleb Williams ain't what everyone thought he would be because the team
It's
around
like,
him is like,
yeah,
well, not loaded, but pretty
they need an
good.
offensive line. It's how the Lions were for years, where they like had talent, but the offensive line, Stafford was getting his back broken in half every year because he had no protection. So like, I think Caleb's good. I think like they're going to get there. It's just that thing where NFL fans, especially like Bears fans, I don't know if Browns fans are this way. They think it's immediately going to happen. Like you bring in a franchise quarterback from USC, they thought they were going to win 10 games. Like it's crazy to me that we as sports fans think like it should just turn around immediately, you know? Because the Lions have had a million coaches since I was a kid and none of them worked, you know, until Dan Campbell came in. So it's like it normally doesn't turn around right away. And Bears front office is so quick to fire guys like a couple years in, you know, like normally it's not mid-season like they did with Eberflus, but yeah, I don't know. Like, give it a couple years is always what I think. But maybe there's too much money at stake for these, like, you know, guys that are donating. But
Yeah, and then to the point where we're so scarred of having 40 starting quarterbacks since 99
yeah,
in Cleveland that there's fans ludicrous enough to not even want to draft a quarterback.
yeah,
I mean, like they're saying, like, I mean, they talk like professional scouts out here, and obviously, even like the people who do this for a living say like there's no like franchise changer at the quarterback position as a prospect coming out of college this year in this draft. But even then, it's just like you never know because no one was talking highly about Josh Allen, no one was
I
talking
know.
about highly about Patrick Mahomes, and like it really just comes down to where the player goes, the coach, the head coach, quarterback fit, and
It's the fit.
let it blossom from there. But yeah, some fans don't even want the Browns to draft a quarterback because they're probably just so scarred from the previous picks that we've had and just completely falling on our face. But going back
So,
to the Bears,
yeah,
there I saw a stat where they just need consistency. You know, they have a stat where it's they draft a quarterback in the first round and they fire their coach midseason that year. They did it with what's his name? They did it
yeah,
with Fields. They just did it with Caleb Williams, and they did it with Trubisky.
yeah, Mitch. Yeah.
So it's like they just need consistency. So find their coach.
It's when Michigan was really bad during the Michigan State years with D'Antonio and they had Hoke and they had Rich Rod. And I was like, please keep doing these dumb things. Like, so it's like me as a Lions fan in Detroit, like in Chicago, I love seeing them like constantly flub, you know, because it's like Bears fans they just always think they're going to be good at the beginning of every year. Maybe that's just an NFL fan thing. Maybe we all do. But I don't know. I love seeing the because they're going to eventually figure it out at some point in my life. So it's fun to be here for the times they're not, you know, because it's the same. And the Lions have been, my dad is going to be 70 years old. He had the Barry Sanders years that were like kind of fun, but they still weren't really doing it. I mean, it's 70 years of just literally nothing good happening. So like for my dad to experience this, like the Bears will get there and they've already had like years that are good, you know? So it's hard for me to be sympathetic. They've had some good years.
Yeah, I mean, they went to the Super Bowl in what, 05 or 07, but unfortunately they ran into Peyton Manning. So,
God,
you know,
yeah.
and
Was that
they
with
had Rex
Cutler?
Grossman. So,
Oh yeah.
so obviously that's not going to go well. But I something just hit me, and I'm curious because so you're a Midwest guy. I know a lot of people that are into NASCAR, but you're a Formula One guy, which I don't know anyone that is into that stuff. So I'm curious where that started for you and stuff.
Yeah, a lot of people like watch Drive to Survive on Netflix, like during COVID or whatever it was, and that was hilariously not how I got into it. I have a really good buddy who has loved racing since he was a kid, mainly IndyCar and F1, like more than NASCAR. And so he's always been like, Sean, I think you'd really like it. It's just come over, like, because those races are normally like Sunday mornings really early because they're like all over the world. And a lot of the times they're on the Eastern hemisphere. So like those are starting at night there super early in America. Right. So I like went over and watched one with him and another buddy and I was hooked. Like cause I had someone there to explain everything to me of what was going on. I could like focus on the competition part of it and like the greed between the teams and like there's 10 teams, 2 drivers for every team. And like, this guy hates this guy. This guy used to race for this team and he left and took more money. So it was like, it's a reality show mixed with like sports, mixed with these rich people that have all this money. I don't know. So I like fell in love with all of that. And then I watched Drive to Survive, which is just as a journalism kid, like the best kind of just like they're like lifting the curtain to see everything, and it's really, and it's just so well shot, and it's so, the cinematics are amazing. So for most of my life to never really know anything about like race car driving, and then to find this like deeper like kind of love for it. So now I'm the dude that's like all in and watches every single race. And yeah, I don't know, like it's kind of cool because, you know, like I'm sure we all were like this. Like I grew up loving the Red Wings. I'm going to say this. I grew up loving the four main sports, right? I'm sure like you guys probably did too. And then later in life, like finding these other sports that I like is kind of cool. Like I'm starting to get into UFC a little bit more. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of neat to like be like, oh, I never watched that, so I'm not going to watch it. It's like, no, I'm like, let me bring in new things into my life that are cool and that I can get into. So yeah, that's like F1 just kind of got its hold on me, and just like hasn't let go.
That's how it used to be, which is a super Midwest Ohio thing, was monster trucks, Monster
Okay.
Jam.
Yeah.
We used to go up to the Silverdome to watch the shows.
Hell yeah, dude. Pontiac.
Hell of a venue, man. I miss the Silverdome. I used to love going there. It's so dope. But I wouldn't just watch when they come in town. Like we would keep up with it. We would buy at the time, you know, the VHSs and stuff. And yeah, so I used to kind of keep with that. That was kind of my obscure side sport, because no one at school was really into it. I mean, they'd be into like the actual, you know, watching them crush cars and shit.
That's
like,
sick, dude.
They
They had
would
the
race
magazines and everything too.
Yeah,
Like,
oh yeah,
oh yeah, that's
all
so
the
cool.
all the Hot Wheels, like actual car, you know, toys and stuff. So yeah,
Mhm.
that was my
Gravedigger.
thing. Yeah, Gravedigger, all those guys.
That's
It
so
was
sick.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even at the time, it kind of meshed in a little bit, because like wrestling and monster trucks kind of intertwined for a minute, because Bill Goldberg had a truck.
Yep.
There was like an NWO monster truck for a little while. So yeah, I was able to kind of mesh that together. But yeah, I've seen you talk about it a few times, so I figured I'd ask: is there anybody left from like the Andretti lineage? Like, is there a grandson out there?
So there's like in F1, there's like guys like Fernando Alonso has been like racing for like 20 years. So there's like the guys that are like 22 that are coming in that were literally born in like, you know, 2003,
Yeah.
which is insane. And then you have the guys that have like refused to retire. So there's a couple of those. You know, Lewis Hamilton's still racing, who's like the Jordan of F1, and he's leaving Mercedes to go to Ferrari, which is a really big deal because he's been with Mercedes forever. There's like those storylines. So you have the guys that are older and have won 7 titles, you know, and then you have the new dudes that are like coming in and kind of the new school. Like I feel like that's happening in the NBA a lot right now. There's like this turnover of like young talent that is like, I don't know, you know, we used to always talk about Durant and Curry and LeBron, and like all of a sudden there's this like new wave, right? That's kind of happening in F1. So it's like a good time to jump in if you're like someone who's like interested in it. But yeah, you have the old dudes, but there's only 20 drivers, you know? So it's like, once you kind of know them, you know, everyone's personality, you know that. So NBA, it's like tough for me to keep up with 150 guys, you know, but
yeah, I dig it, man.
Mhm.
So the first time we had you on was just under 3 years ago. Next month, actually, it was
That's
3 years
wild.
when you guys were first on. And at the time, you were a big AEW guy. And I
Mhm.
think at the time, the tides were turning kind of in their favor, because I believe still in 2022, Vince McMahon was still running the show for WWE and just kind of
Yeah,
doing a lot
sure
of like
was.
tired, stale shit. And I think maybe even that year or the year after is when Triple H took over, and it's
Mhm.
kind of changed the whole landscape on that side of things. And it's just been a fun time to be a wrestling fan, because you can kind of get quality stuff from all over the place. Even TNA is doing some really cool stuff.
Mhm.
But I mean, who are you watching these days? Because it's almost been like a little bit of a switch, because AEW's kind of fallen in a little bit of a lull.
Yeah.
You know, they
Sucks
got some
now.
great wrestlers and stuff, and yeah, but their storylines,
It's
it just
bad.
kind of seems like a lot of these shows are just kind of like Tony Khan's like fantasy booking
Mhm.
things, where the matches are really cool, but then after that, it doesn't go anywhere. And
Yeah.
that's kind of, and WWE's kind of right now, I mean, usually is when things start to pick up. Although because I wake up every day at 4 o'clock for work, but last week I'm like, I'm gonna watch Raw on Netflix. I'm interested to see
Yeah.
what's gonna be. They've been talking it up, and unfortunately, in my opinion, I think it was WWE's way of showing Netflix executives what they can
Of
do,
course.
more
Oh yeah.
so
That's like a
than
yeah.
entertaining us as fans. Because like, that wasn't The Rock that we seen. That was Dwayne Johnson, the
I know.
board director that was in the ring. Because 6 months prior, we watched him beat the shit out of Cody Rhodes and saying stuff about his mom, and now like he's like basically, giving him all these props, and they're sharing shots of tequila in the back, which was
Yeah.
crazy. And but The matches and stuff were cool, but yeah, overall that first show on Netflix was kind of just like, here's what we can do to like the people maybe that haven't watched Raw or ever,
I
instead
know.
of just like entertaining the people that have been tuning in every week. So I'm hoping maybe tomorrow we'll go back to normal, because Royal Rumble's in 3 weeks, so you really got to start
I
figuring out what
know.
you're gonna do there. But yeah, where are you kind of watching these days?
Well, I'm going to Royal Rumble. I have
Oh, nice.
tickets. My buddy and
Hell
I
yeah.
are going to spend the weekend in Indianapolis together and do all the like, fanfare stuff. I've never been to a pay-per-view of that caliber, so this is like a really big deal for me because I've wanted to do it forever. I swung totally back towards WWE when Triple H took over the storyline. I mean, WWE knows how to build a storyline and like really use the like camera and like the episodicness of it, and they've always been able to do that. But when like Vince was like was so hard-headed about like certain things changing, that was obviously really annoying. Triple H just seems to have it figured out, and I've swung totally back. I'm definitely still kind of a like, I don't watch a lot of the programming. I get like recaps and stuff because it's just, we were talking about all the things I have to do. It's hard for me to
Yeah.
watch like a 3-hour show and then, all these things. But yeah, I can't wait to go to the Rumble. It's, I'm sure like us, like growing up with that pay-per-view being the most exciting thing of the returns and all those things, like the fact that I get to see like Cena and CM Punk and all these things. I don't know. It's going to be really cool. So I'm really excited, and I'm sure it's going to kind of, once I go to that pay-per-view, it's going to bring me all the way back in for like Road to WrestleMania. I'm excited. I think, like you talked about it a little bit, I think wrestling is less looked at as like this hokey thing. I think because of TikTok and social media, we've been able to like really see gimmicks of people, and the kayfabe went away. So you get a little bit more of like really respecting and understanding these guys. Like when I listen to an interview of somebody on a podcast and it's like a wrestler, you really get to know them. It like brings you into like their lives and how much work goes into it. And I don't know. I think it's a really fun time to be a wrestling fan right now. And it's the Netflix thing is just going to bring people in, like you said, that haven't thought about wrestling since they were a kid. But because that's the app they open every night when they sit on the couch after work, yeah, maybe I will throw some of Raw on. And oh my God, this guy's still wrestling, or this guy looks cool, I don't know. It's neat. I think it's just fun. It's another one of those things that's just meant to be like fun and silly. And it just try to take your mind away from all the other stuff going on. Like the wrestling was always an escape for me as a kid, me and my brother, it's like all we thought about because it was just such a fun time. And to kind of get some of that again later in life for people that haven't watched it is really neat.
Yeah, I agree. And like basically, which has kind of been a detriment to him, but like the whole finish the story saga, that was some of the best stuff I've ever watched ever, especially from
Man.
like last basically like SummerSlam of like 23
Yeah.
through this past WrestleMania, just like that whole road. I mean, that stuff was so good that it kind of has made Cody Rhodes' title reign kind of, a little lackluster.
It's hard. How do you even like
How do you
respond
you
from
know
it?
what I mean?
That's not,
Especially the
I
way
knew
they did it at WrestleMania with like all these people coming out, and
it.
it was wow. It was like the coolest, most overbooked thing I've ever seen in my life. I
It
loved
really
it.
was. Me too.
It was fun. And that's why, like this past Monday, I was just like, "Who the hell is this in the ring? Like, that's not the Rock. That's not the final boss. Like, that was like, because he reinvigorated himself. I love that whole final boss thing he did,
Mhm.
and I was hoping to see some more of that. I mean, he came out in the vest and stuff, but hopefully, I don't know. I don't know what his plans are. You never know, because he still thinks he's a big movie star, even though most of his movies anymore
I
are
know.
ass. But
I'm just really hoping they book the Cena thing really well. Like if he's really going to
yeah,
do the final push and they're going to give him the 17th title, like if this is all going to happen, I just really hope that it's well done. You know what I mean? Like this is the
yeah,
one that I'm excited to watch because he's talking about how he's going to be an everyday guy. So we'll see. I don't know. I like it's the story building is where it's all at. I love the wrestling and everything, but for me, I've always been more about the story, like than the matches kind of thing. Like, um, I'm pumped to see what they do with it. I hope it's not just a huge flop. I think, like you said, too, the Netflix thing, they had to kind of do that first show that way. And I think it's all going to eventually kind of get to, being way more methodical of what they're doing. I just think they needed that big, like, spectacle first show.
yeah. I almost got tickets to that Royal Rumble. I went to SummerSlam in Cleveland this past summer, and then I went to the previous year at Ford Field.
Yeah.
And I've been to a ton of like when they come into Toledo and stuff, and they've done SmackDowns, Raws, but going to like a big 4 pay-per-view show,
Yeah.
yeah, you're in for a treat, especially that one, like you said. I mean, you're gonna see 2 Royal Rumbles. I think there's gonna be a lot of cool returns for the women's Royal Rumble too. You
Right.
got like Charlotte and stuff.
I
So that'll be
know,
fun.
because I've only like
Um,
been wrestling, in person the last few years. I've seen my brother's indie shows in Michigan. I went up the Jericho cruises, which is like ridiculous matches. There's only 2,000 people. I've been to AEW house shows and Dynamite here in Chicago, but to go to Rumble is going to be, it's nice to kind of do a bunch of smaller shows leading up to that, because then it's just like the spectacle is huge.
yeah, and they're about to, speaking of AEW, I mean, they're pulling over Penta, so
Mhm.
that's gonna be pretty
Very
fun to
cool.
see. I the only thing I'm afraid of is I feel like they're just gonna like automatically put him with Rey Mysterio, because that's for the
Seems like a
longest
Vince
time.
thing. Seems like a Vince thing.
Yeah,
Maybe
that
Triple H
just
won't.
he'll be in like the LWO or I don't know. Hopefully they do something cool with him, because he's
He's a talent,
somebody
man.
that I always enjoyed watching in AEW and stuff.
So good in the ring.
Yeah, this is like the best time of year for wrestling and just WWE itself, because the
Yeah.
road WrestleMania is when they start getting stuff going. I'm interested to see where things go with like Roman.
Me
I
too.
know that this past week they were talking about he's coming for the title and stuff. So I don't know if they pit him with Cody. I wouldn't mind,
I think
Kevin Owens
that thing
taking the belt
stays.
off
I agree.
Cody. That'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It was
I
really
love
cool to
KO.
see him just walking around with the winged eagle, saying he's the real champ for a couple weeks. I
KO's
love
so good.
Kevin
Oh
Owens, man.
my
He's got to
God.
give him one more title reign.
He's so
He's just the best,
funny.
man. Yeah.
He's so funny. He's such a good personality. I could listen to him on the mic all the time. He always, when he's cutting promos, it kind of feels like they didn't even write a script and they let him go. And I'm like, man, you really don't know what he's going to say. He's so quick-witted,
Yeah.
and a lot of his insults, like you don't even really realize it right away. Because Sami Zayn's the same way. Like you could tell the way that they would kind of talk. They were like, people aren't even going to understand how deeply rooted that insult was or that little thing. I don't know. I love Kevin Owens. I just wanted him to continue to be like, get screen time as much as possible.
Yeah, for sure. And hopefully, and I think AEW will turn around. I think Tony Khan keeps his ear to the pulse of like internet and stuff, so he's got to know that people kind of want, a storyline that lasts longer than a couple weeks into the pay-per-view or whatever, maybe some kind of long-lasting thing. Them getting Kenny Omega back is gonna be large. So
it will. It goes in
and,
waves. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like one's always going to dominate the other, and then it's going to swing back. And WWE is always going to kind of be the top dog. But yeah, I'm just hoping AEW gets its moments, like something cool, so it doesn't just like kind of fizzle out.
Yeah, and like the one thing they did that was very Vince-like is just like Adam Copeland's just not going by Cope. Like, come
very
on, man, what are we
Vince.
doing? You know what I mean? Like,
Very
it's like
Vince.
such a
Just
Vince
made the
man.
decision that day, and we're like, just do this.
Cope,
I
you're
know.
Cope.
I know. It's like,
All
oh,
right,
we're all as
whatever.
fans are just accepting this. Okay.
But all right, I got one last question for you, and we'll get out of here. Like I said, when we first had you on initially, I asked you and Corey, knowing what you know today, what is one thing you would tell your 18-year-old self? So I'm kind of remixing it here because it's your second appearance with us. So I'm asking, knowing what you know today, what is one thing you tell yourself New Year's Eve of 2019, now that we're about to hit the 5-year mark of the crazy pandemic year?
I'll do mine from a content perspective. Is one thing I've
Okay.
really kind of pushed away since that time that I should have jumped on to probably is do vertical content like TikTok, Instagram Reel style stuff. I love the long form things. I would probably tell myself like that's going to blow up and give you a lot of like opportunities that are bigger than just making videos from the very first day. Like when I started doing daily vlogging, food stuff, like in the pandemic, like the pandemic started, and I was like, oh, I'm going to make a cooking video every day to like pass the time. I would tell myself before all that started to make a vertical video every single day. I think that if with the quality and like the amount of work I put into like my edits now, I think if I was from the beginning doing that, and that's not even the beginning, but well before that, I think that I would have told myself to do that. To stop being so like stubborn and just like lean into, short form content more.
Yeah, I
I
always
hate it.
wondered
But
why.
I
It
hate it.
always seemed that TikTok and stuff, like that's where you see a lot of people that they'll grow crazy over there.
Yeah.
Although if you look at their other socials, it's always like 1%, 5% of what they got on TikTok. So
Yeah. And if you like look at comments on food, I always do this too, is like I have a buddy in Miami that's like a really big food influencer. And man, like the audience I have on my YouTube stuff, 99% of them are so genuine and like say really nice things. They follow the story of your channel and like say, I like this. This is my favorite video you've done. I like this one from years ago. Man, like the short form stuff, much like that content is so quick and like impersonal. The comments are like so negative. like way more like people just finding the video and then commenting bullshit on it. Like, I don't know, like because I grew up loving episodic stuff like TV shows and like Bourdain and like No Reservations and how he would tell a story. And so like I love that side of it. I know if I went all in on vertical content, didn't do YouTube, I'd have way bigger numbers. But like I don't have the passion to like just boom, 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 put out as much as I can quickly. Like I could go film 8 TikTok style food videos in a day, put them out every day over the course of 8 days, and the numbers would be way bigger. But I like, there's something about capturing that content exclusively that I like don't have a passion for. It just feels like dirty. It feels like a trailer, feels like a half-baked idea, like an idea of an idea. And when I watch like an hour's worth of short form content personally, I like feel like I wasted time. Where if I watch like 3 or 4 longer form episodes on YouTube of like a Casey Neistat vlog or like a cooking show, like Gordon Ramsay doing like a more bigger like cooking thing where he's showing all these different things, I feel like I've learned something. I feel more motivated and inspired than I do when I just kind of like quickly thumb through stuff. You know what I mean? Like just a personal thing. Like I'm not like shitting on it in the sense that it serves a great purpose and it's awesome. And a lot of the content I make to make money is making short form content for restaurants. But like from a passion perspective, it's like not my thing. So I think like going back to the question is like, I would just tell myself to not be so annoying about it and just lean into it and find a way to love it, you know, but also doing the food stuff. One last thing, like, because I eat so much and I'm like very conscious about like, I don't want to like balloon up in weight because it's so easy to like, I could just not work out as much and like focus on making content. But then I like start to feel shittier because I'm eating all this crappy food. So like if I feel like if I also did TikTok and like it doesn't get banned and I'm doing that a ton, I feel like I'd be eating, I'd want to make more content. So that's eating more stuff. It's going to more restaurants. It's like constantly being a part of that. And I like just doing like the few a week kind of thing and like regulating it. And that's just like inside baseball. That's just like my brain being like, this is how I think about it. Because like if I wasn't doing food, you could do a lot more content that's not like you're not eating and like hurting yourself. You know what I mean? Like food content's weird. Right. You got to like balance it. It's like it's a very tough kind of scale, you know?
Yeah, because I mean, if you were to try to post a bunch of videos like, here's this salad I'm eating today.
Yeah,
like,
people don't care.
Yeah.
And like the ability
you know
to do
what I
a
mean?
bunch of it is like the fun comfort food stuff. You know what I mean? Like you can go out
Yeah.
and get stuff from restaurants and
Here's
I'm not
this
like
fucking monster bacon burger with 3 different cheeses. Like, all right.
And there is a way to balance it where you don't have to do like crazy stuff, but at the same time, like I've built the audience I have. I don't want to all of a sudden just be doing, you know, grilled chicken, you know, stuff like that. So it's like it's just finding the balance. I think I'm in a good groove now. Like I don't care about getting millions and millions of views. Like I've been doing this too long where if that's what I cared about, I would have switched a long time ago, you know?
And that's the cool thing about being able to have your own channel on the side as well, because you do mix in some of the other. It's not all just shit
Right.
frozen foods. Like it's
right.
real meals and
My
stuff,
grandma's
so.
old recipes and stuff. Like
Yeah.
However I can work nostalgia into YouTube, I will.
Nice.
Yeah. Do that. But Sean, before we cap this off, let everyone know where they can follow you, your channels, all that good stuff.
Yeah, just go to YouTube and search either Number 6 with Cheese or Eat Local or Hey Sean Ely, any of those. They all kind of relate to each other too. So if you find one, you'll probably, the suggested videos will be all the other ones. But yeah, 2 of them with my buddy Corey in the car, kind of car reviews. And then my stuff, like I said, Hey Sean Ely is in the kitchen, sometimes in the car, but mainly like cooking and traveling and stuff. But yeah, if you just like food content and it's edited well, I think, like you don't like just watching someone turn a camera on and then chew for 10 minutes and then that's it. Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, I recommend it. Like I've said before, these are some of my favorite channels, and then stuff he does on the side is kind of like Casey Neistat mixed in with a little Guy Fieri, Adam Richman. So if you like those guys and that stuff, that's a good mesh of all that stuff all into one. So some good watches. A lot of times I'll watch you while I'm getting ready to sit down for dinner and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's usually the best time to crank out some of their videos and all that stuff. So, and like I said earlier, seriously, pretty much every single day on one of those 3 channels, there's going to be a new video. So you're never going to run out of content to consume on that side. So it's good stuff.
Hell yeah, man.
But
well, thank you guys for
Sean,
having me on again. This is so cool.
Of course.
To see you guys almost at 200 episodes and just it's a blast. You guys are so inviting and so fun, and it's fun to see your guys' dynamic, and I wish you nothing but the best this year and continuing to crank it out. And I think I might have said this last time, but like hoping that there's a time in the near future that we can be in person and hang out and have food or drinks or something. But Keeping that on there.
100%.
I'm gonna keep trying to manifest that.
No, I appreciate that. We will, Dylan. We might have, because we do, like I said, we do these little TSP vlogs where we'll go check out different
Hell yeah.
stuff. Dylan, that might have to be something. Chicago's, I don't know, 4 hours away from us.
Yeah,
Maybe a
not
little
bad.
less.
4.5. Yeah.
On the tolls there. So yeah, we'll have to get over there. Maybe film some because we'll have Sean, because I want to check out. I just seen another video about it, the Billy Goat Tavern.
Yeah,
I want to check.
I just pitched them. We'll see if this works. But I did a series on my channel called like eating every deli daily deal at Jewel Osco, which is like the grocery store here. So I for 7 straight days like ate their whatever their special was in their like hot bar. For Billy Goat, there's 8 locations, and that's like my first date with my wife was at the Billy Goat underneath the Chicago Tribune, this like dark bar that whatever. So I pitched them, I want to eat lunch there, 8 different things for 8 straight days at every location, and 2 of them are at 2 different airports. So I want to like fly out of O'Hare and then fly into Midway to be able to do that, so anyways, like we'll see if that happens. I'm hoping I'm going to manifest that too, but I think you'd love the Billy Goat. I also live right across the street from one of them right now, so it's like a local watering hole. But yeah, I would love to take you guys to the Billy Goat.
Dylan,
Nice.
we got to plan something out, man. I think.
Yeah, I've been to Chicago one time in my life. I'd love to go back to enjoy the things I wasn't able to before. Go back to some places I enjoyed previously, such as there's a Skyline bar that you go up so high in this elevator, your ears fucking pop.
Yeah,
and enjoy the city skyline at night and have a couple of good drinks.
Yeah, man, I would love that. It'd be great. We make the vlog look real good too.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
You wouldn't need a drone for those heights.
No, just use your phone. You're your own drone. I know, it's insane.
100%. But Sean, thanks for coming on again, second time for TSP. Definitely won't be the last. We'll have all your info in the description of the show here. Dylan, you know what time it is, man.
Yes, sir. Thanks again. Bobby said it. Couldn't say it better myself. Sean, thank you so much for the time. A busy man. Indeed, and we appreciate all the time that you gave us here for the second time on TSP. From myself and Bobby, we also hope you have a great 2025 and all the manifestations that you are trying to manifest come to fruition, and that you guys at number 6 with Cheese and Corey as well have a good 2025 year. To everyone that's listening, be sure to subscribe to our show if you enjoy. Subscribe, hit the subscribe button, follow us at TSP_2019. You can follow us on all our socials. That's at X, YouTube, TikTok. I believe Bobby's been posting some videos on there as well, some short form clips, and Instagram as well at TSP_2019. So from myself, Bobby, Sean, hope you guys have a wonderful week, and we'll catch you for the next one for 193.